Okay. Star 176.
Bawku. Don't you use a smartphone? Use the Momo app ne.
Huh? Abba app.
Hey, I want to say millennium, say millennial. Inim. Oh, millennium for ya nyaze. Switch to the app. Or you're smart. No, you're secure.
Enter a world of possibilities with the Momo app. Pay your favorite merchant, pay utility bills, and borrow from our wide range of lending services. Move to the app side today. MTN.
Adom FM.
All right, Adom 106.3 FM Abeja 4 at Nase. Honorable Fuseni Donko Asansuna, the Honorable former Greater Accra Regional Minister, Honorable Daniel Ni Kwate Titus Glover. We are live on Facebook. Enti over Facebook for our comment eto ho yebeje brena fe yakenkan de ama anase YouTube. Yemfa sedano ema Absa SME loan your story matters. Omo no so ya cinema ye de enkomo twitwin ye de brewo. Honorable Donko.
Senior.
Akwa babio.
CJ Mejoso.
Me Kaipa said the last time who appear on my programming so now it had to do with Nekoso on Quanta. Yeah, the I mean misunderstanding Nekoso on Quanta, and that day you were so emotional about the issue. Yeah. What we are hearing from Bawku. See Saturday, now the extension of the curfew, evacuation of students, deployment of the military to enforce peace. Now we've gotten to the point where we are enforcing peace. Initially it was peacekeeping, but it looks like peacekeeping, no? And so the government has decided to enforce the peace. Mesha safe for but my honorable Titus Glover Akwaba answer. Ni?
Tetane. Drama kawaye. Wo jugba, boyo jugba.
Ni madromo.
Inke ngamo jettema. And the rest of the country mahabo. Mahanya mino Akwaba. Gaba studio Enuga. She's an ekasi because he's a deputy director.
No few.
By the end of the term, Alizibanya use simple Gan.
Yes.
How you can transact business in the Gan language.
Yeah.
CJ, me ho yanya miadom. Edenchia every tema. Any motifo ni mwashofo nyina andapai. Ediba munasro. I'm over the weekend in Mpensenpensenmu.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going year too. Na me be fie no. Na nyum no mo bono. Lumba nyum kwa no mo bon. And I say the year and me yem shimi. Na mean
yes.
But consistency nyum no mo bono. No say the year na me yem shim bako. Nti uni aba frame me say mati di aba na me say there be o so o dali limba me fan wa jam say saneba na mami fa konya weso na yemabusuafo oyire ne manyina yakọ na we sure that the lumba the contribution in the music industry it's over 3 to 4 decades. We shared the maiden song was 2 year can control. Kakrank build ya bedu ni pempe sui. Na nini nyumu no nya adveto. And nyumu nankasa de tono. Because words are a walk nyumu no crash. Whether it's secular music or gospel music, catchy. Na enye politicians in Ghana state barrier. Obi bia wasum Ghana. It was the field of industry. It was abandoned an issue. The state must take this funeral.
And one of such persons is
Daddy Lumba.
Yes.
I am manu sa onano.
Yes.
Na dia ye me yani say, oh hu dia ye manu. Ye will be ya nipa de tiase no. Le ye bibi de shede no nyam. And the me ntwema mamberewa owu sana makoye yie kese amano over 80 years no ti hono e ho na meze me wo ti de but another the co and the mestre his excellency Milimso Tie chief of staff my brother Menuzombo led by the minister for tourism Miami Nyabla. The state should take that responsibility. Say be man state barrier. Now back to the subject of Bawku. E mebri a obeka Bawku na ma kai menwa ketwa no wu ye police na ye shoot no.
Yes.
Dede or Timothy bike chi police officer. She was shot at the back of a motorcycle. And the Bawku asemwa eya ni kanon eya yedin. Na for Bawku asemi ebetumi etwa it will depend on few things. Said the ebesia kanokre no, the root causes, open and honest dialogue among parties, forgiveness to each other. Let's open a dialogue, a trust, a womb. Because where were winner, where were you? The majority leader, also Papa, Kusasi, and on Mami, Mampugu. Has Ayarga, Ayarga Bakono, Doctor.
Yes.
Onoso sa o Mami Mampugu, and no Papa Tacholete Kusasi. Na sem moya koya sembia, enye nasam. Enye nasam. And the neck can koka. Na mususu nka ni yia eya na ne kana ko ebibi kakra but it's over the weekend school for me nu e wona na rugu ananye o
yeah
me ba na metiu about assembly member na or say there was no enough consultation.
Yes.
Said ya yebejit curfew no e dia tum me di regional minister da na me the chairman of Regional Security Council. Security no ya wono ne levels. Ya wo district level if no dissect ye shia ana music and a regional level and a national level.
Yes.
That as every level biano epeja. Now we share said ya security threat in the city no. Region can come in at any time, national can come in at any time. And it's all kinds of regional minister in any mushi, district ni mushi, I'm for mushi. So long as national who's a no national threat, they have to move in quickly.
Without recourse
they can move in quickly.
Regional minister
no. Regional minister be catch row. You be catch row. Then Tino will share with you. Looking at the situation, say no musi who are no.
Yes.
They have to move in immediately. And the honor sabi mini assemblyman and ya drink kakra. Because apeja. Because you don't know the next level nipa wedding and sabaka koka.
Yes.
So at every time no regional minister, RESEC no and National Security Council, they work hand in hand. So there's no problem. Interior minister at the national security level, where the president is the chairman of the National Security Council, can move in quickly. So that we can calm nerves. But a whole year drink is about 2 p.m. area. Yeah. 6.
Yes.
Up to 2.
Yeah.
I know shake how kakra. Na face so farming period no.
Yeah.
And it's na ekwafo no ekokrom ana ekom ofum ekododo eyede no. Satam na so me yede on be fie. Obi we bia ni fam baby e wo no. Oben nante free hono would nante free fie e dia kofomu a e be take a couple of minutes and hours emri do ahina wo be duma ye djuma wo fo no mu and wo ye djuma kakra no a so wo chi odiba enti curfew time na wo say hwe ni review no kakra wo just say enu ni wo say hwe then you review no kakra.
Because he feels it has become a sort of punishment to the people.
Absolutely,
in
absolutely.
the area.
But Edu baby, you don't blame the state too much. It's about security.
Okay.
Now I will say, in the minimum, you take action B. Then later, not yet transfer. Then they can review the time. Say from this period to this period. Some say wale can be was
yeah.
Kemusa na later you review no kakra to make it a bit flexible. When you shisha you do to make sure say we protect life and property. Na bro, me pese we didn't cry my president mami. Amanyo sema ye petumia yen kanokre. Man yem ma touch all the amanyo sem na ye no ye betwa tro e dia two bi so. Ana group bi so. At the end of the day, afi betu wakwan mu a wo yi wo a enye ye. Setifo be kaya in the heat and the run up to the elections. His Excellency the President. I can say MPP wa be mu a na Bawku crisis no emu ye kese pa. That statement he made was an unfortunate statement. Nipa Bawku wukra ni hunka enya di papa. Anyone lost ever conflict bia emboa. But for a candidate of a political party, oh Jina Simpieso, oh yeah campaign, say this wa bemwa Bawku crisis no emu ye dinti say and before wa bemu and the man kunkungu na de nyina ekoso. I felt that statement was quite unfortunate. Today look at the number of people who have been killed. I'm not comparing the number of deaths in MPP at the time and now. But sa kasano eye kasa. You don't expect a leader. Ebe fini nume diaba. And then when we said I didn't see ako. Bien kasa sa. Minu yampeni no. Baby otia no menya kwa ni nkasa. Inframe mwa na BBC ekoswa. Meti unkakra di amano. We should depoliticize. I heard you saying it. We should depoliticize the Bawku crisis. Uko social media, obi accuse Dr. Baumia. They use it against him. Say what to edi mama push for edi kunkusazi for and say. Enye kasapa. CJ, midi regional minister. Anytime biya bro, problem beba suru hono. The Bawku community and the Kusan community, I invite their chiefs. And they got a betu ye. Anytime. You who said attention because was quickly. Because it can trigger down.
Yes. And we invite you from
Wahano. Min kai about 3 times.
I see.
3 times. The Greater Kramampugu chief Oba na him for washama ewa alajo ewa ha kusasi form wa the whole conference room that takes up capacity about 300 it's full.
But in these meetings, we are no tension no in.
Okay. But you may not know.
Yeah.
You may not know because they trade among themselves. Now, ebia youth ni bi na kuma kokosro the slightest ignition a peja na de wasro no de bia ba and run is a from regional security council minimum pom for they will speak to them honestly. So look, the ekoso was rebi ninkra yes, Romu, you pesa you betting and they speak genuinely. Na Zakaria Michao. Any Kusasi chief, me alaji inye kwegbe no po. We feel kakra. And you could see the genuineness and the unity and the love and the willingness for peace to prevail in Accra. And I know they'll communicate the same thing that ano edia kosoro edia kofie because sebe umbe dipa eba ko bibi kakra edia show musia ho na yamani kakra edia ko musia fo e wosrem. So we do these things constantly to make sure say 2 tribes ni nyina no ye be come on dia bom ama enwado ni asitana pa na ekuru ye ni nyina no na akodenum. So we should be very careful the kind of commentary, the kind of statement we make on this Bawku crisis. Because the boomerang going to see into Misiano. Entwisiano. Because these are two great tribes. And then Shinkoswa Bawku. Commercial banks, a free ho. Your teacher posting, or Sionko. Nurses posting, or Sionko. I beg you, man, Kasangasa, Emma Bawku, Bawku Jiran Nazonia, Nina, I say. Because of the Ekosuina. So the question is, what is the way forward? And I can say, one is about trust to each other, the forgiveness of one another, open dialogue. Me the mijide kajem say we yebetumi aso ano. Yebetumi aso ano pa because dagbondia ba yi pese kufo etu ayi otumfo yogbongura at the time and nayiri yetumi so ano. So I believe sincerely say edwuma yi a pese mama dia ma da na otumfo no so olutuma ye hu bibi. But it should be based on mutual trust, respect, forgiveness. Yenisa ebeboa the depoliticizing because sakasana omampinikano on the political platform no enye kasapa.
All right.
But
that's it. Honorable Seme Bawo bi ma the move by government initially we started with peacekeeping in Bawku. Now per the release that came out yesterday we are moving to peace enforcement.
Totally supported.
You support
I
it?
totally support it because at the point, let me share, is that the chief of defense staff or the army commander? You're the chief of army staff.
Yes.
Elders this year, no, your statement be Bawku. Say, so mum for tuonu, a man for tuonu and tuwa. That's a nipa Bawku huka, they will come after them. And in such situations, you need to send a strong signal to all those who are fomenting the trouble. And then Ghana is noted for our peacekeeping operations abroad.
No, but honorable, it's peace enforceable. Say, yes, just open.
You have no choice. Because the government cannot sit down for innocent people to continue to be killed. Aside for no immigration for police for so you move from peacekeeping to peace enforcement. I was said yes, I was a woman, and I have no problem at all. But on the soldier for no was we there on Bachuaso. Some say we are very difficult and stubborn, they'll discipline you. And for that you can't take it for the armed forces. And the shooting there comes why you shoot one near Johnny. You say rebel for the style. Now empoa. And the says measures now binding at the say for peace enforcement.
Yes.
That is the only way that they think they can do to suppress
Okay.
But beyond that, dialogue, open dialogue, trust for each other,
all right,
respect for each other, and the genuineness to reconcile amongst the two tribes. That is the way to go. But enforcement, ma enkoya fibo. Yeah, way to suppress some of the
because then the other side would be if there are laws that govern this country. What happens to the laws that must be enforced to bring about this peace, lasting peace in the area? I don't know if you understand.
Yeah. Marani bi wo ho a na se o de be hwehwe so a you have to make sure say it does not infringe on the rights of the people.
Absolutely.
Because, for example, say public health crisis be aba. Na say abayin per se all the measures. It was say measures in the air proportionate to the problem there one. It was say announcement. Emma nkruma for no omo around no. Even beyond our borders. Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, they share border with Bawku up there. So that's it. In the year proportionate. Now it should be in a way say health crisis after it's a short term. Say I didn't see trape I was all lifted free. Said ya amount for who no bebre because constitutional provision and makwanze my entire and but this is a matter of life and death. A month for enkwa then ye shri and ye be kra no ye wo kwan so it does not infringe provisions of our constitution. Any younger me permission not makoto the amount. And there was a man in such a way say, Asra for no money too much. Be infringing on the rights of the people.
Okay.
Because we see money in PA, freedom of movement, restricting of movement, issue a short time. And yet for a long time.
All right, but that's it. Honorable Uncle, my member, I know how passionate you are about some of these things. Then I'm kind because quite recently now we were talking about Nkwanta near Ekoso Ewo Nkwanta. He is from that area, so that day he was so emotional. Yes, actually,
and
yeah,
other people.
yeah,
Adele.
yeah. Honorable, my interview. This is the news we are picking from Bawku. Very disturbing.
Mama wetie for Achimbi. Na mincha misinian so. I can only wish him well, but not from my heart though. Because ade year minua na na bi no mani anje ho. Won say omukọ Saturday omukọ Lego no. Oma boys ni nyina tene against na bi o. Macho men na be a training for 8 years because of what is the touch of Subentino. They don't want to see them again all of a sudden.
Bro.
Mafia tactics.
Minimum Mr.
I know the Jumana no
And the job day ground and the thing happen on the ground.
I think it's on the light that night.
Honorable, below the bed.
Unimu amate. Unimu asama amate.
Minim say be visa cause also. Social media. No, seriously.
Yeah, me personally, I didn't see anything like that until after program on social media. Really, all these things happened.
It was really bad, but when a day, I don't know. Bawku is quite unfortunate, very much so, because Bawku once upon a time was like a whole West African market in the Sahel region. If you talk about baby Obenya Sebe, what we call real goods, Atago, Upe cereal, one of the best markets, the whole of the sub-region, GDP was Bawku. It was a thriving town until this issue started. Now, I listened to my senior very well, and being the head of RecSec,
yes,
he has seen a lot. Even at dissect level, so I believe, sir, we've been faced with the realities of some of these kind of conflicts. You asked a very sincere question, say, can peace be enforced? And because of where he sat before, any baby we know you can enforce peace. Enforcing peace is not like quenching fire. It's like suppressing the fire. What I say? That is how enforcing peace looks like. Until we enforce peace, there is a flame, there is a source of the fire. So you douse the flame. Ubetime do flames no so na so na ejana edi flames ne ba no da so sase kakra. That is how you enforce peace. But peacekeeping ne say ejana duma won pese obi abeso jani biem. Those are the two different scenarios. Untino who enforce peace, there is a flame, fire service comes, sprays the water, the flames are all gone. But in Mabawani Niana, ejana asia edasu prumusie no kakra da so ho. Nti ye dum jane de ba wo hu se musie kakra da so ye de ben efrimu ba. That is peace enforcement. And utie narrative na, I believe say sincerely senior person ye jai politics ye de ba sebi chieftaincy dispute, any land dispute ma, it will inure to the benefit of young politicians nankasa. Because the only way to escalate a conflict is to give it a political undertone and as a religious undertone.
Yes.
And you know, a chieftaincy fight all right with two factions. But then the moment the political angle comes in, one feels empowered based on the OABM.
Yes.
And over the years, we've seen it. Say two sides, no. We first and now buying bar. He has the power now to also take control. Because of first and now buying bar. Into no betimia use political powers to fuel his ambitions. The other person also feeling say, okay, my buying you, then let's all mess it up. Because at the end of the day, so it's time for revenge.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, all the 8 years nobody attacked a friend is saying Mahama Yaraga's house, not even his vehicle. And then all of a sudden there, people decided to go and attack his house, go and burn his hotel.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It's in the hotel crash.
Yes.
Or Makwashi Hotel.
Yes. What do you think? Should we also say now, say if the Abia Yura John Mahama kind of for saying yeah, does that mean say to vindicate the fact say enye Baumia na ye into yes quality at the Nyanka Mahama Bentina yes na. So it is best for the two of us to take politics out of this whole thing. Niyema nipani who say adia enye no enye.
But politicians, you've benefited from their Ekosu Bawku. Do you agree?
How do you benefit from blood? Any blood
No,
benefit
but
from,
do
you pay for it.
Do you agree to what I just said?
Nobody benefits from this.
Politicians, both parties have benefited from.
Vote free Kusau area, it cannot change even a regional dynamics, let alone a national dynamics. They make an intimacy.
Me too.
So, what is the essence of fueling that particular conflict? To what extent? To what gains? I don't know if you understand me. Because, akoka mama yarga, you never know who next. So you never know who next. But si e catch a soldier for say massa, musa obi kuretua a criminal offense. Deal with the person. And to sabi chama bonaba, Miami regional chairman, and you who say etu kurano wrongfully at the wrong place. Let the Lord deal with him. See, I to say MPP regional chairman, and na sabi onusu etu kura and as etu dani dema. Deal with him as a criminal, not as a political figure. Until we allow the security agencies to do that, we can't see the end of this conflict. Because Obin Subafo say ma buy na abantino, me ya dia emrani mi ndia. Di ono so fo say nya na aban na wo ho no. Ono so be di boni ahye wo a wo fo say wa aban aba no. That is why students are being targeted. Sebi school for enka sebi adewe chieftaincy issue enka inform who be bia. That is why they are being targeted.
And you know, Honorable Wadaruma, my fear is almost you're targeting, you know, the political element. Properties in the Keka. We just heard of Kumasi.
Yes.
My fear is now they'll move the attacks and the targets down.
That is the point. What you seem to forget, you see, let me explain something to you as well. Most often than not, you cause confusion, especially young leaders. You cause confusion. It's like a chain bomb. Or unless a chain bomb, we are not extricating, so that he's not cited as the one there organizing it. And you free also at the nearest place of Abodi Kumasi. That is the center. It's no ebe seti bibia oho. Ebe yo se niema ekoso ho nipa na o she chire nheboko ho so bokom na o she Kumasi na o she nkran ha ba bi. And a general oma AI directions oma remote control niema. So the thing we all think is Bawku, but it's not far from us. So eben ye wo ha. Ntina na menu aneka se most of the times niema ne shase no afre leaders now more say no until Kumasi happened and the second one happened. I think say that was where reality dawned on, and you realize say my brother Amako Hine has also taken some tough measures because we've invited all the factions. Ah, omo nyina begu Kumasi o. And I said yewura otum for air kasem no. Ntimi ho ase be sori afo say hemfa na be shase free. Because all the leaders have been brought down to Kumasi a hona ye kasem no. Nti obi so for said the easiest target is to try to eliminate some of the leaders who are now in Kumasi so that be ya omba na chikura na osa beto niam bi so.
And before you know it, Accra na if you say target one free, you know.
So the whole thing is evil. Let's call evil evil and not anger. And you know, I would expect say enka afanu no mienu nyina no ye nyina yen kase dabi ade we there enough of it. Let's allow the security agencies to deal with whoever they feel like dealing with. In the past, people took the law into their own hands because they felt say their party was in power. This time around, people will also try to copy because fine, you use the party in power to do this to us. Now we are also in power. We are also going to repeat this. A human nature. But this is the time to say no, we can't continue like this. In the past, it will shock my brother to know say, hey, bikura na nye sebi vice president naka say, oh, me mama ye say you. But before you realize, somebody somewhere around him, ne brother, ne nuye bi, na damfu bi, ne childhood classmate bi, obi anim say, oh, where they are associated, he will just go and use the name to do whatever he wants to do. We are all politicians. People use our names and our title a lot without even your knowledge. Unim fans and crofodi edinje. Same title and name, no people nipa betimi de dibone just because of the association with you before you even get to know. But your posture to addressing the issue when it happens also tells us a lot whether you try to deal with the thing drastically or you try to kind of manage it because somebody close to you is involved.
No, but my main bisau security presence yes is here deploy. Can it in a way backfire? Maybe by making civilians feel occupied rather than protected. I don't know if you get my.
There are two sides to that particular scenario. You see, when you go for peacekeeping, it means peace has been established and you are trying to keep it. But minim say who share the scenario of Liberia Gambat 1. I was a student. I was a primary school student by then. Namiko school was 7 garrison. So the stories and the scenarios and most of the videos in share. When Gambat 1 Ekomog went to Liberia, it wasn't peacekeeping. No. They started fighting Charles Taylor, Prince Johnson, and everybody until peace was established. And some Gamba 2, Gamba 3, Gamba, they came to keep what Gambat 1 has achieved. So to be able to do peacekeeping, you must enforce peace first before you can keep it. If you don't establish it, how do you keep it? Adiano, baby, so it shows that their rights and their freedoms now they are more, they are abusing it. If you abuse your rights and your freedoms, government has the power to take it from you. The state has the power to take it from you. Enti na ko krono it make us say krono ya wa bontino ye ma wo nante abontin biom kona koda uni wa wo fa hodie biom ye na ye be kire tama wo be sore tama wo be didi ye na ye be kire adwuma wo be ye because you have abused your rights and liberties.
And so that's where we are now.
That is where we are now. That is where we are now in Bawku, the rights over their own peace. They've abused it. Me kwa se me nante abontintino me ma fatuo makokum obi. Therefore don't work again. Me kai se fulani for ekum nipa mienu bi tamana me DC. Like it was happening too much. Any like say share and I say okay. Henceforth Who Fulani near 6 o'clock, you be who say Timoto Sukra Becho. And for like 6 months, we kept that law, and nobody died again.
It worked.
It worked. Because don't say honey a forest.
Yeah.
These guys are also in the forest. And I said, Obi question be the most when you see kakra, but when you try to say kind. You call you efu or complaining kakra. So okay, now let's separate the Fulani and then the indigenous and see what happens. Intimono by 6, almost so they were only using motorbikes. By 6, Monda. So that Bonibi see okay, now the indigenous are targeting themselves or some criminal elements among the indigenous. Yes. Until this time around, no say, Sabi ebinum ne share ebiachi no mudi sa bonina. Let's all obey the law. Then let's see after some time, no. Because me say you're banning motorbikes in Bawku in some hours. So I don't know when that was lifted and some of these things started again. And the most unfortunate part here say the new trend of entering into secondary schools. But once boy Nkwanta the started and it was the same thing. No, mukubo secondary school. And this one too, Omanya baby and bone secondary school. What is that trend? I don't say free. Because what has the poor school children got to do with your chieftaincy conflict? And I mean, is it as if say a binu per se you wipe the next succession ages now? It's wickedness. It's pure wickedness. More come on talk about fight outside in the towns. Don't take it to the secondary schools or the primary schools. The school children have nothing to do with it. But I say, Abrobia benipe bitinu say, ye ni papa nyasema ye ne banu so nyasem. That is pure wickedness. And it must be punished in the harshest of terms.
All right. But I say, honorable Fuseni Donko, any attending can.
Let me associate myself. My brother, last comment, because that is a criminal act. That is a purely criminal act. Skunkwala on the yewu no ba wiasi. O mami no papa ko hia no ni hobi. For all you know, ni mami be afa, ni papa be afa. They said the two ayareges kachere ye. Na ukoko abofra yi mani yede. Adiba kwa beboa enforcement of the PC is the collection of all illegal weapons in that place. A true gusro on one. CJ Ghana for the one shot, cash of arms and woman. A true ne go on.
But easy.
Me say our armed forces are trained and they can do it. First, give an amnesty. Obi okita illegal weapon beyond Fembra. Because one of the government, either President Kufo, former President Rollins or Mubako, a general amnesty.
Yes.
Obi okita illegal weapon on license for the sake of person who na sumbiokosono. I think it was the Nanumba Congo Nanumba war. No? Walenkaki. I was operation commander at the time. There was a general amnesty after the conflict. As a way I healing 2 tribes in Yanu Hono. Obibi okite 2 on lances ye biano on for 2 November. And they collected a lot of illegal arms. Sanso and the military high command no, with the advice of the national security no, edi akoto omonimu ewosoro. Obibi okite 2 and your license gun no, for bra as a way of trying to heal. CJ and Tokwana heading ekoso ewosoro no. But the nature no, they can move into homes and make inspection and collect all those arms. Obi on fani diamba biano. Ebi kwa ko tutu fom no mdi akoshe ho. But we can succeed if the intelligence, the military intelligence and the police intelligence are helping. BNI, now your friend NIB. So Masuwa for moi, they can be able to tell us. They know them. And his intelligence no call in Naswa, and the bet my boy, I'm a to me. I share our problems in Yano, and they must know without peace they cannot thrive.
No, but Honorable Patrol, my main find it out way. Quite bad so na a buying bit me a balances our swift action yeah we're taking and bay. What black quite crown so or de obuoni and the Emma or two forms so a juma washa see ya ugusua woody. How can government balance these two?
On the bino ejitum say or two for your personality beer. One obupa. Not only in Ghana, across the world.
Yes.
Nasa wudi you must so Nsem. But notwithstanding that arrangement for peace and resolution, I was asking those criminal elements in the Yano, a said yes, you nip it in the bud. Because all these actions are criminal acts. That has not stopped the government or the security agencies from taking action. And they are two separate things. Or two for a shady dear no a yo. Dear Bema, yeba because or two for or is all about chieftaincy, has to bring dialogue and to bring some finality. But the criminal part of it, the saving of life and property, no, and no so abanzo ajiafa, no so all short, so Besha say and no bedding a subatic, and nabi edi free. But when you know a casa, yanoba beya, any edibeka. It is not the guns and the clubs that can solve this problem. It was a jitum and nabi can say it must be based on the mutual respect for one another. Open dialogue, forgiveness to one another. Ye when we are, and never bought to for no no see the job or na koso. Why ye bida? And to bet my and ye best more mushe and there are people who are benefiting from these things. There are people who are sitting back, they are benefiting. And wobia so unim said and to quite cosui nimpan yeshri. That's a witch na wutine yawda ebeto and ye besre me nana bema wo me papa. The first wife is from the north, half Bongo, half Navrongo. My late grandfather who gave birth to my father Benjamin Kwate Light Titus Glover, his first wife is a Notna, half Bongo, half Tacholete Gruchi from Navrongo. And he say here a disturb because Sikanga Yedibako says Honirano, Yedi peacekeeping. Sika Yedibe says your Cromono, I was here dear rushing Nadia Denino, I was here the call. A yes, Anwa, Mukrono, and Tumpom. Na Midi Manusiano said, I may hear and unknown and the quarters a year and unknown. Messer Regional Minister for Greater Accra. Say Otiemia. And now say Obi Etimia, the PRO of the ministry, RCC. On country and say, me say, on Momonia non fra infono, on more Greater Accra, Kusasi Greater Accra chief, Mampurugu Greater Accra chief, and all their elders. Na onyo mudin komo. Na no me say they here no. Ma ebin bisi wa ha say. Say the omuso omo odipa eye dwuma wa no. Omo di message no den e di finkran e di akosoro. Say asumdwe no en na nyina ye den ye hia bi. E da se.
All right. Honorable Badaruma, I mean, finally on the Bawku issue, and then maybe I think we may have some 10 minutes to deal with other issues. The involvement of Mebununo in these conflicts and the fear, say, I'm sure they will be radicalized, you know, because of their air course or no entity. How do we manage that? How do we prevent that? Because Majidi said near Kosovo, Liberia, near Kosovo, South Africa, and in Krunkra, war is it has had an effect on the youth. Yeah, but in one need a tremor, but the psychologically and young so be almost how do we deal with that?
Yeah,
even as we enforce this?
But for this unfortunate conflict, Bawku was a place for business. Until you realize one of the best salesmen you can ever have are from that side. Marketing is sales party and hard work is from that side. And you know, gradually the conflict is giving way to kind of tune their mind. Yes, they can be radicalized in a way. Because on say, right after Bawku, you are entering another zone and also you're already charged and Ubibeka polarized. Which I say, so from Bawku to Sankasi is not even like from Kumasi to Accra in Dru Sample. What track Sankasi away Rabokina? So already it's like a red zone. So the earlier we say dismantle this conflict once and for all, the better for all of us as a nation. Because you say no most of the heavy trucks in Accra, they now prefer using Paga. Anka Bokunsu very, very easy to access. But now most of them use the Paga route. And even revenue itself for Bawku people now Kasakura, no more revenue. And you can live in a town ebinum timi kojom, ebinum timi kojom. That is how serious it is. So, yet to say, Ubiti Sebi Kukumlemlea Nibi Bia Ope Bia, just or no Kukumlemle, Unim now Trako Kaneshi Asamato. That is the reality of life there. That is how bad it is. And how long do we allow this to continue? And for me, yes, I think I add my voice to that of my brother. My sister Linda Ukuluchu called them immediately. On Fromo. Like he's saying, at times, just ask them, how do we make sure these things calm down? They can be in Accra here, it will shock you, say, one phone call back home and the things will stop. But
I mean, don't you think it should go beyond Accra? There are other regional ministers and regions. Regional ministers, from what region?
So, and I make sure
periodically.
And I make sure say, I didn't know. My name say, a young Crawford Bawku na BBU. There are generals, field marshals, rear admirals, omotiti to other regions, I want to control BBA. So yes, all regional ministers should call these factions. Uba me constituency say, yo mampurusike tuane mampurusike siye wo. It's a whole community on its own. What I say, there are other places you go to, you get the Kusasis also there. Uko Tepa enclave say ya ciao. Kusasi for no so enclave no. Neja when ya bayirema konkoma fu ensu yensu yen na nemu. But this thing going on, like he's saying, no, it's a clue. Said the Kumasi Ashanti regional minister, no, Greater Accra should do it. Volta region should do it. Baby Omuntan Kokesiye, I think will be like the Western region. Honunsa assassin shed and Norson for Adobe Bresa. But no crano Galamsey area how call Benyaomo. CJ, it will shock you, say wherever there is hard work, you find our brothers there. And you know, yes, I agree with him. All the regional ministers, you know, and all these factions and their elders. Ude yensra almost seminiano. Ubia make it call home. Okay, Hotel Rwanda. We need to watch a movie in there. When they got to the tipping point, baby, a manager had no options than to say, okay, mo hanging now, mo obi wa bruchire no, obi amfa phone.
No freno.
Freno, o frena, kasa chere ni ti said ye wu ni wanye bibia.
Yeah.
And that phone call from the guests at the hotel saved their lives.
Yeah.
And you know, at this point, the issue is not about those in Bawku. All Kusasis and Mampurusis outside Accra, Kumasi, Kofodua, Oti, and Western of Central, Yesramo. Everybody should make a call home and plead with our brothers. Say, Yesramo. Mumu you unko be actually. Because Ebeya say, why ye me misumi ko ye ni bi. Unim da sebi ubakra ibi on kraso okosrane nana na ono na ekonya asem. It is time we all get involved. Necessary. So yes, it's a very good call. Yewra utumfo ye ne de no. All RESEC should also get involved and help us deal with this issue once and for all. And yes, I CJ, yebeko ho. Ubeko the West is omunyina be free ho. But it doesn't mean their effect cannot continue there. So let's do it. Even those in the military, chief strategist, those in the police, chief field commanders, operational commanders in Yinano. I think the interior minister, the defense minister should also call these people to order. Speak to them. You say one ma obibesie una wo direct affairs una ye operational strategist
meaning says the government should now treat this as a national security emergency
issue,
not just something boxed in a regional
or
happening in
Bawku. It is not just happening in Bawku.
Yeah,
it is everywhere. Minia 96 kunkumba na numba war. I was a student too. Na me wo who? Na me papa ye police officer. There were military CEOs majors near here. Omunyina were there. People thought the war was being fought at the north, but you don't know where the the strategies and the modus operandi were all coming from. So I'm just giving them a clue because I've lived these things before. The issue is not just in Bawku. Let's trace it in all areas. So uni obi kra na wa adwumam o wa adwumam obo se onu muni nyina se o kofia on nim kwan ya fa so a ye to arms ne ammunitions no enkran ha na omo de ahyehye se bi botom ayo se ebro ye den free se bi atoko any beans ye den free enkran ekoboko. And our police barriers are also there. Oh, omo de kobokina eduru ha na yi niam free. So it's time we all wake up.
I was thinking we could do some other topic, but I want us to stay a bit more honorable, Michelle.
No, it's important.
Yes.
Other topic is important. Don't run away.
But the other topic we have about 10 minutes. We can do something. The mid-year budget review. And according to Real Franklin Kujo of Imani Africa, he thinks that it signals discipline. That is here. And then we also have the issue of the National Petroleum Authority scandal. And also Ewaha. Uraha media say no when you bill. Na nipa for no ekano hono na omoche weekendi they were remand up to Anapay. Yeah, honorable. These two, Debbie.
When this is strategy.
Honorable, you can do 5 minutes.
You should have spoken on this budget. In fact, CJ.
Yes, sir.
Come and none is a mediamin.
Near Comojia, near me.
What did you mean? Now, Nami Shessa Media. Would Kai Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association?
Yes.
On condition of service, negotiate at our time. Ebra na by year not been say or best satisfy or boy implement this idea in Yano. And one of the nursing groups at the court. And the ban is the hands of government was tight. By the time we and it was a ban for our bay implementing Omunyamin. Omu effort biara to make sure say conditions they will implement it. I'm say Ntasanko Yejuma and no more demonstrate striking. na ansa no bɛkɔ strike no na head minister ne say ɛnyɛ budget mu na ebe implement ebe cost over 2 billion cedis and the muntwen and na me da me twen say media review e de be hye de ama wo say de omo so de ahia wo no na omo so e den eye e de ama wo nti mehu e wo media budget mu so I was surprised me kai say atufo sinara finance minister any NDC for campaign say MPP yeah the nuisance taxes aba and omo ba obi twetwem omo twa levy omo twetwa de keka ho emission tax de enye tax e gi wokrumwa even though we pass the law yanje emission tax betting tax ananya no omo yi free ho every tax has a reason why aban pass mra so be gi sato no nene yekoda sorry opposition party at the time NDC omuka say eto no ayegye no nuisance enye no president called May 1st May on the 4th ade bechi no e de hwie trim ya tu tacholete electricity 14.5 okay
yeah
the hwie trim na labor for minimum wage na got 10%. And so much charge I think about either 2.5 or 3.5. 2 months after, almost have a charge 2.5 on power. I cost 17%. And then I say review no because now workers in came. Almost came, and then Professor Jambo no what on or touch of the cheapest authority. On Casabium because he's happy. And which no so. Na me tie finance minister ewo channel What TV oni Benadavle osan ya another interview ewo moamu English station
yes PM Express with
Kogomemre BBC
yes
PM
number 1
or kase Evans Mensah Besano good for oil no can say there was nothing like that. Even the pushing on say I am the finance minister. There was no good for oil. But Bank of Ghana ate your fiscal cash. There was no butter. But Saturday there was news file. Me and my brother Kojo Nsafapuku, our chief executive for Institute of Energy Politics and Research.
Yes.
Under the RTI or Trodico Bank of Ghana. A Bank of Ghana man reply 7 July 2025. Queries we are not all pay response edi free on this good for oil. Entity the response the free Bank of Ghana by. And I quote response to query 3. The good for oil initiative had a positive impact on the foreign exchange market and export price in the first year 2023 of its implementation. The program helped reduce demand for US dollars from the bulk oil distributors, BDCs. A total FX demand of $1.66 billion will have otherwise increased demand on the interbank FX market and put pressure on the exchange rate to cover the delivery of 56 cargoes, totaling over 1,847,000 metric tons of petroleum products. As at the close of December 2024. Prior to the Gold for Oil initiative, petroleum suppliers were charging petroleum premiums between $150 to $170 per metric ton. Petroleum premium declined because of the Gold for Oil significantly and ranged between $50 to $80 per metric ton due to the competition from the Gold for Oil initiative. This competition among market players led to lower export prices. Miria, there was a company, your friend is saying, Gold, on behalf of the petroleum suppliers. That company was called 3-Star. Gold, OGA, Bank of Ghana, the Mano. Now, ODA is changing fuel supply no. And the supply of the fuel at the time, they found nestwise. And it's a finance minister be catch say there was no butter. I'm giving this information. Bank of Ghana is an institution of state. Said nyamanya ekoso. And so babon team be catch say nyanya ye campaign platform.
Okay.
The NDC ministers and the presidents must move beyond campaign platform. Say no move booming. And the campaign Samson even free go. Ukra obi anya bi de there. Ukra ne bangu ye fa. Gitim ze no ye fa. Ni ayakoso nyina no dollar da ba for na de nyina no e na ye magic e na ye mama ye wey say America any trade problems with other countries because almost $1 so the demand for the dollar at the time dwindled. Yeah, kono ye jago foreign reserves $9 billion. Ye to gold reserves I be so see the from about 3 to 4 metric tons to 32 metric tons. Bank of Ghana governor wakan wasem sa in the Nyama 3 amabubo sui.
Okay.
That is what I've held the dollar.
All right.
The city against the dollar.
All right.
And the moment beka bibi say ya ko nya bibi na God for air no a policy a buy a boy and John Jintum Mon contractive zone say there was no butter, nothing like that happened. But there's something that happened.
All right.
The company that collected the gold and exchanged it on behalf no you find a 3-star and the next wise and the oil no a supply the bag. So these are bare facts.
Honorable Daniel Ni Quartet Titles Glover Medase. Yes, sorry.
Bisauna was in a good no way.
What just about Mama too good? Yeah. Is that what you are saying?
What was the oil? Sir, and an oil price net so that 16 or 17. In fact, Minia, what we were used to, and our dear in the 8 years administration of the MPP, no, was a mid-year budget review. Biano, can you furia tabes risika until injury time, omode. What they say? I mean, Antaus, I mean, Andambai. Nedi, any man say, budget review, bia, mid-year budget, biano, can you free out a pisca account? This is the first time budget review about, eh? They keep telling us that we have not spent. Let me show you a list. This 6 months alone, in the last 6 months, government spent 114 billion Ghana cedis. Now, do you know how we spent it? 700 million has been paid to defray Eurobond debts. 700 million USD. Eurobond debts na mojeto hono. Yedibia kutia. 10 billion cedis to domestic bond holders. Oma omuku chwa omuti headcount no. Yedi 10 billion etia omoka. 2.9 billion to District Assembly's Common Fund. They no more de cancer no more kono yabitua. Get Fund yepia. 9.1 billion energy sector stable power supply has been paid. 5 billion arrears has been paid. Near the 9.5 billion no. What 9.1 ye TMU 5 billion. 2.9 billion to Get Fund. Yepia. Secondary school education free SH 1 billion. John Muhammad. What is Kolani say so eduaneda? Etwem. 2.7 billion to national health insurance.
Okay.
I can't know what the domestically yet. So we chose to spend Ubibeka wisely.
All right, but that's it. But that's where the better watch him. Honorable Fuseni Adams, your Deputy Director General, National Service Authority. Honorable Daniel Ni Quartet Titles Glover, a former Greater Accra Regional Minister, and Mpensenpensenmu, one more.